Top of the morning, top of the morning. Hope everyone's having a beautiful morning. Just finished a little exercise, a little light walk, and wanted to talk to y'all today about a sensitive topic. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but I'm gonna lay it out to you point blank and clear, because the truth will set you free. And I believe my life journey is my life journey, and whoever was involved or was responsible for me in my adolescent years, you know, you may be directly or indirectly mentioned in this video. And I don't mean any harm. This channel ain't to expose nobody, because I'm no better than anybody. Family, friends, acquaintances, associates, whoever it is, it's just the truth. This channel is meant to help people, because we all have similar stories, but sometimes we're scared to share it based on the fear of judgment. So with that being said, today's topic is going to be addiction. I'm going to talk to y'all about some of my addictions, and as I look back on my life, where they came from, how I overcame them, and what I'm doing to, fight demons every day, to not go back to that type of lifestyle, not practice that type of lifestyle, because it's not conducive to where I'm at in my life and what I'm trying to accomplish with my family, with my friends, and just with the world. You see, I'm trying to help change the world little by little. Even if I only get to one person, that's okay with me. This video might not be for everybody. So if you're not ready for the truth, you might want to get up out of here right now. So we're gonna talk about addiction, and the first thing I want to talk about is food. So food is mainly everyone's problem, because it's something that we actually need to survive. The body can go maybe 30 to 40 days on water or juice or whatever, but you need food for the nourishment of your body. You need those nutrients, you need those minerals, you need those vitamins for the nourishment of your body. But in the community I grew up in Eastern North Carolina, we eat horrible. We love pig, barbecue sandwiches, ribs, pig feet, neck bones, especially bacon, all that stuff. We would gather together during family events and eat all this artery clogging food, and it was always negativity in the room. So not only are you eating bad food, you're around family and friends that are gossiping, that are negative, and people prepare your food. They may have been in a negative mind state. That stuff really affects you. If the person who's preparing your food is actually in a negative mindset, because that energy travels. I just hope everybody realizes that energy travels, and that energy can travel to that food. And you wonder why, oh, why did this make me feel constipated this year? Or, that food don't normally hurt my stomach. Why did that food hurt my stomach? It might not have been nothing in the food but negative energy. So I just want everybody to realize that, we grew up on McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, all that good stuff. And it could become addicting because it's comfort. It feels good. It tastes good. And more importantly, peer pressure starts in the home. So when you at the table and you told to eat all your food, it may be something that you don't even like. You're forced to eat it or get a spanking. And when I look back on that, that's really not the method to go with. People don't like food for a certain reason. Everybody's body isn't built to eat the same type of foods. We all have to do what's right for us. So I say all that to say, that's one part of the addiction. Me personally, I became addicted to food when I was probably about, I want to say 6 or 7. I had moved to Chicago with my dad, and I was staying with him and his significant other. And there was a lot of hatred in the house. And I don't have any disdain towards that person. I actually love that person. That person, taught me some things about discipline, but that person also did some horrible things. And one of the horrible things she did was lock me on the back porch, force me to watch them eat while my dad was at work. I'm talking about days now. I ain't talking about one meal. I'm talking days, And when I would eat, I would be eating so fast because I was hungry. I was just trying to just savor the moment because I didn't know when my next meal was going to be. And it was crazy. It got so bad that I told my dad I wish that she would die. And he got mad at me and spanked me, not knowing, And I don't hold no disdain towards him either, because it is what it is. It was just the times that we was living in. And, that really, to this day, I have to watch myself when I'm eating. I slow down, Skylar. This food ain't going nowhere. Even my kids say, like, dang, Dad, you eat fast. And behaviors are learned. So this was a learned behavior. And it became an addiction of, I don't want my stomach to be empty. You know what I mean? I got to wake up and get something to eat. As soon as I feel hungry, I got to get something to eat. No matter whether it was healthy or not, I got to get something to eat. Before I go to bed, I got to have that feeling of being, full, satiated. There's nothing like eating cereal before bed, because, it makes you feel warm and tingly on the inside. But that's just another reason why, I became addicted to food. And another thing, I want to get back to family. I know a lot of people say diseases and stuff are hereditary, but I don't believe that. I believe the mindset is hereditary. When I became old enough to walk to the store by myself, about 6 or 7 years old, a lot of people in Jacksonville know where Church's Chicken used to be, but before that, it was called Moore's Mini Mart. And I literally used to have to go to that store about 10, 12 times a day for my grandmother for a Pepsi and a pack of nabs, or a Coke and a pack of nabs, or a Dr. Pepper and some chips, because she was literally addicted to sodas, literally had a soda addiction. And I would ask her, Grandma, why don't you just get a 12 pack so I don't have to keep running back and forth to the store? I got dogs chasing me, ducking and dodging dogs over at Mr. Yang's house. I think that's how I became fast, because I had to run from a dog every time I went to the store. But anyhow, she would say, this is my last one, this is my last one. And it would never be her last one. And that's really addictive behavior. And I found that during my life, I was using them same excuses. This is my last time doing this is my last time doing that, when it really wasn't, because my mind wasn't made up. And there's nothing more powerful than a made up mind. So there you have it. That's the food. I got people in my family who are very sick, overweight. I was one of them. Over the past 3 years, I done shed about 30 to 40 pounds. But I got aunts, uncles who are hundreds of pounds overweight, and they continue to do the same thing. I try to provide advice, but you can only give advice to a person who wants to accept it. Everybody's heart isn't open to advice, It's not. Everybody's heart is not open to advice. Sometimes you have to figure out on your own. And it's sad to say, it's that flight or flight. Sometimes, you go to the doctor and they tell you got high blood pressure, diabetes, all that, and now you want to change, which is good, but you knew you wasn't feeling good before that, because we all had an addiction to food. Smithfields, Bojangles, There was times where I can remember not eating fruit for weeks and months as a child and an adult, because Bojangles don't sell fruit. Not to my knowledge. Popeyes Chicken and McDonald's, they don't sell fruit. They don't. One of the main things we used to look for after church was going out to eat. Piccadilly's, Golden Corral, wherever. That stuff ain't healthy. Sometimes you have to give your system a break. So that's food. And the only way to overcome food addiction, in my opinion, is change starts in the mind, and you have to deny yourself. You have to go on a fast. So the next thing I want to talk about is, let's talk about sex. So sex is natural. God created sex. The sex is made for procreation. A lot of us use it as pleasure. And I can remember some of my first memories of sex. One of the first memories I have of sex is walking in on my mom having sex with her boyfriend. It was very uncomfortable, but it was a learning opportunity. But she was young at the time. I don't hold anything against my mom. I love my mom with all my heart. She's always, been there for me to help, whenever I needed her. And this is not to bash my mother, but this is just the reality of the situation. This is things that people go through, and, as they were younger or whenever. I walked in on them, and they told me it was a dream. And I really don't think that was the correct thing to do, because now it's stuck in my head that this is a dream. And honestly, I'm gonna be completely honest. I can still remember vividly what it looked like, because I was standing there for a while trying to figure out, what are they doing on this couch in the front room? You know what I mean? As a little kid, they think you sleep, but you might be asleep, but then you wake back up. So I'm sitting there, and then he saw me. He was like, "Oh, jump!" He was like, "Oh shit, Skylar right there." And my mom jumped up and tried to console me, like, this is just a dream, baby. This is just a dream. But I'm like, is this a dream or is this reality? And coincidentally, the next probably week or so, I'm at one of my homeboys' house spending the night. Here come his sister. She was probably like a year or two older than me. I'm probably like 7 at the time, maybe 8. I don't know. Something like that, because we were still living in the projects. But here she come wanting to play house. And she was doing some of the things to me that I had seen, and I didn't know what to do. So I just went along with the flow. And then from there, I started just looking at women different. I start looking at their bodies, and I was curious, because little children are curious. That's what they do. They're impressionable. So I can remember one time being at my cousin's house, again, same scenario. He thought I was asleep in the back room, but I wasn't. And I came out and I see this man like on TV from the stomach up, just sweating, looking like he was pumping weights or something. And I'm like, he didn't see me either. And I was like, what? I said, what you doing, watching a weightlifting movie? And then as soon as I said that, the camera kind of went down, and I see a woman giving a man some head. You know what I mean? And then I noticed what my cousin was doing. He was down there masturbating. He was probably like 17, 18 at the time. So we all done that. He thought I was asleep. He wasn't like directly like, oh, just doing that right in front of me. He thought I was asleep in the back room, but I wasn't. So then I became interested in pornography. What is this? You young and you impressionable. Kids at school talking about it. You want to know what is it, how you do it, what it feels like. So now I'm sneaking and finding porns and watching them, and sooner or later I'm in middle school, trying to have sex or whatever the case may be. And it became, as I got to high school, it just became, out of control, with pornography and womenizing the females, and having sex with a lot of different women, and even I can remember as a young boy being up in Chicago, going to barbecues, and some of the men in my life, they the ones that taught me how to be a player. I remember one time we had a barbecue, and my dad, he was like, see that little girl over there? Go over there and talk to her right now. You better come back with her phone number. You're going to have to deal with me. What, you know what I'm saying? That's what what kind of message are you sending? I love my father, but he had his demons too. That's the thing. We have to be honest. The truth will set you free. We all have our demons. We all have the things we deal with. He used to take me around to all his women's house. A lot of them. A lot of them. There was times I was listening at the door. What are they doing in there? They having sex. And my dad was open. He would talk about it. I went there and tore that tail up, son. So I'm very impressionable at a young age. I think that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get a woman, tear that tail up, and go move on to the next one. For a long time, that's what I believed. A lot of men in my family was players, or just loved women, one or the other. My grandfather loved women. I had an uncle. I had 2 uncles that that are players. One of them was a preacher. One of them passed away, God rest his soul. But they almost got into a fist fight over who won Player of the Year back in 1972. And this is in the early 2000s. We talking 30 years later. These jokers fighting over who won Player of the Year. One of y'all a preacher, and both of y'all are in church, but y'all fighting over that. That just goes to show you the mindset, you know what I mean? What I grew up around, you know. Oh, he's handsome. Oh, he this, he that, you know. Thinking that, you know, being handsome and dressing nice was the only thing that, you know, could get you women. But really, in reality, a good woman is going to be attracted to your mind. So, yeah, that's that. I may have left out some things. And I just want to say, you know, like I said, I'm not here to bash anybody. I'm just telling my truth of how I came about things. You know, I had sex with a lot of women, you know, that I probably shouldn't have had sex with because energy, like I said before, energy travels. And when you have sex with a person, their DNA is stuck with you for a long time. Now, I was always, one thing my mom taught me was to protect myself. She showed me a book of STDs when I can't remember, I was probably like 13 or 14. I came home, it was a book of STDs on my dresser, and it was open to a page with a split penis. Because I forgot what the actual STD was, but it was open to a page with a split penis, and there was some condoms on the dresser. And that almost scared me away. I was like, yo, this is real? Because that's what they don't tell you about. STDs are real. And it will alter your life, alter your mind. It will kill you. I know people that have died from it. People that I grew up with. This is serious. And I just thank God that, you know, I was able to have sense enough to wear protection. You know, did I wear protection every time? No. No, I didn't. I would be lying if I told you that. But majority of the time, I did wear protection. So, let me digress. A lot of things happened when I was 8 years old. Around 7, 8, you know. I believe that's around the time where, or earlier, where I think my mom went to prison. I may have been 4. I can't remember exact dates. But my mom went to prison for selling drugs, you know, hanging with the wrong people. Again, my mom had me when she was 16. So my mom was very, 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 very young with a son. And I was raised by a village, which I'm very thankful. Because if I didn't have, you know, my grandparents, aunts, and uncles, I probably would have been in foster care. That was one of my greatest fears, that my grandparents would die and I would have to go to foster care, because at the time my mom was living a different life. Thank God that she overcame all that, but it just is what it is. So it was always, you know, she had went to prison for drugs, or went to jail for drugs, and you know, my dad was on drugs, hardcore drugs. So it was just drugs everywhere. My neighborhood was infested with drugs. You know, kids at the school, you know, talking about drugs, selling drugs. You know, in early, I'm talking 5th grade, 6th grade, and middle school, selling drugs, selling marijuana, selling crack. I can remember in the project, they would put crack on the little staircase and tell one of us, "Hey, go get him," and just tell him it's ready. And we didn't know, you know, what was going on. We knew what the drugs was, but we didn't know the whole scheme of things, that we was pretty much selling drugs too. We was a corporate, I guess, whatever they call it. You know, you right in the mix. You over there telling the dope addict to go get his drugs. You know what I mean? You in the mix. You learning from that. So, um, the first time I tried marijuana, I was probably like around 8 or 9. We living in the projects. My mom best friend come beating on the door. Boo, 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 boo. She running from the police. You know, give me something, say put it in the closet. Don't touch it. I go in there, I don't know what it is. It's probably like a ounce or 2 ounces worth of marijuana. So me being a little kid, I snip off a little bit of it. I take it to my friends. We didn't know what to do with it, but we seen people, you know, you see people roll up and smoking weed. You in the projects, you see everything. We didn't know how to break it down or nothing. We just rolled it whole. I believe we rolled it in some paper. Man, hit that junk and my lungs about bust open. All of our lungs about bust wide open. And it was a weird feeling, because, you know, you that young and you smoking marijuana, you one hit, you out of there. So we high as a kite. We riding bikes around the project, laughing and joking, and paranoid, and one of my homeboys started crying, and it was a time. And I was like, man, I ain't gonna never do that again. But here we go. Fast forward, I'm in the 8th grade. Go to this party. I'm in Fayetteville. I'm living with my uncle at the time. I'm in Fayetteville. We had a party, and my friend, had a Black and Mild. I had tapped the Black and Mild before, dealing with neighbors or whatever, and so gets the Black and Mild. And he's like, man, I'm gonna put some of this weed in it and mix it up. He didn't know what he was doing. He was just copying his brother. And me being a follower at the time, I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. Because, I was going through a lot of stress during that time in my life. A lot of separation, anxiety, a lot of abandonment issues. And I just wanted something to, make me feel better. He was like, man, this gonna mellow us out and it's gonna, whatever. So I hit the joint. Man, I got sleepy as I don't know what, both of us. So we at the party, we had a good time or whatever. We mosey on back to his house, hit it again, put it out. He fall asleep, I fall asleep. That was it. So my camera's saying the video size, but if this cuts off, I'm gonna continue. So, but anyways, that was it. Now, I get back with my grandfather. I'm in Jacksonville, going to high school. Weed is everywhere. And that's the next topic is going to be the next video is going to be a continuation about marijuana. Stay tuned.